We have reached an agreement, Judge, regarding all issues except for the travel to Mexico.
I'm going to put the agreement on the record.
Yes, Judge.
Go ahead.
So, Ms. Vanessa Medina will be non-suiting the petition for divorce effective today. And, we have agreed on, the division of the house that was awarded 50-50 to each of the parties in the divorce from 2022. We have agreed that Mr. Medina keeps the residence and pay Ms. Vanessa Medina for her 50% equity. And that amount will be $87,000. Mr. Medina will also be responsible for the debt to Aqua Finance in the approximate amount of $4,591. That account is currently under Vanessa Medina's name, but Mr. Medina will be responsible for paying that debt because he will be keeping the water softener. So that was the side agreement that we did regarding the division or that enforcement of the property division from the divorce in 2022, Judge. I filed, so that takes care of the petition for the divorce case. And then we also have a petition to modify parent-child's relationship that I filed. And that is just to modify the previous order to include child support because there was no child support ordered in the divorce due to them cohabitating. So the parties have agreed that child support be ordered in the amount of $1,173 per month, beginning September 1st. That will provide health and dental insurance for the children. There's 2 minor children. And any out-of-pocket expenses not covered by insurance will be split 50-50, as per the Texas Family Code. Ms. Vanessa Medina will claim the children as her dependents on tax returns, as she will be the joint managing conservator with the exclusive right to designate the primary residence. And my client will have extended standard visitation. Those were already in the divorce decree, so we're basically just adding the child support and medical support. The children are currently attending counseling, so the parties have agreed that the children continue with counseling. And I believe that's the extent of the agreement, Judge.
Mr. Arce?
If I could just have 1 second, Judge.
Sure.
The only thing, Judge, I know that they're going to transfer those monies to my client, which was the $87,000. My understanding, Judge, is that opposing side has already been approved for that amount, Judge. So we'll just ask that be paid to my client within 30 days, Your Honor.
So he did a prior loan approval. I don't recall what the amount was for, but that's been probably a couple of months ago, right? I know. The process?
If you're speaking in court, speak into the microphone. It's okay. Turn it on.
I don't know. Right there. I call just to know about the process. And they did tell me that I was pre-qualified, but it wasn't like a official loan or anything. So all I need to do is call them again and ask for that loan.
Yes, Judge. So what I was suggesting was that he be ordered to do the application within 30 days. And then we don't know how long the bank is gonna take to process it. But he can submit the application for the loan for the loan amount, because it's not now pre-approval, it's requesting the loan. Within the 30 days.
And just we'd like a shorter window as far as submitting the application, Judge. If we could, I mean, he'd submit the application within 7 days, and then hopefully we'd have a resolution within 30, 45 days. Right?
I know my client was asking for more time because he's a truck driver, so he's out on the road a lot, and he took today off, but
So let's,
I'll leave it up to
so
the
let's do
court.
this, Ms. Medina, Mr. Medina, you can stay where you're at, pull the microphones really close to you, raise your right hands. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this cause will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yeah. You may lower your hands. Is your true and correct name Vanessa Medina? Yes. Ms. Medina, set aside the time it's gonna take to receive those $87,000 and travel to Mexico. Is the agreement that was told to the court by the lawyers your agreement with Mr. Medina? Yeah. Is that your full agreement? Yeah. Was anything left out? No. Is there anything you want to change? No. Regarding the agreement that you have with Mr. Medina, regarding your children, do you believe that this agreement is in their best interest? Can you say that again? Regarding your children, is this agreement in their best interest? To go to Mexico? No, setting that aside, everything else. The payment of child support, the health insurance, the dental insurance, continued counseling, you claim them on your taxes, that both of you are named joint managing conservators. Everything, setting aside travel to Mexico and setting aside the payment of the $87,000, do you believe that this agreement is in your children's best interest? Yeah. Regarding the division of the property or the enforcement thereof, do you believe that that is a fair, good, and right agreement? Yes. Is your true and correct name Izar Conrado Medina Jr.?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Medina, setting aside the travel to Mexico and the time that you'll pay the $87,000, the agreement that was told to the court by the lawyers, is that your agreement with Ms. Medina?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your full agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was anything left out?
No, sir.
Is there anything you want to change?
No, sir.
Do you believe that this agreement regarding your children is in their best interest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe that your agreement regarding the division or the enforcement of the division, do you believe that's a good and right agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court hereby adopts and approves the agreement in full, finds that it is in the children's best interest and that it is a good, fair, right, and just agreement regarding the modification. These are the orders of the court, and those orders are due to the court honor before.
August 31st at noon by submission.
All right, so that leaves two issues, and that is the payment of the $87,000 and the travel to Mexico. Let me see if I can get you to a good place, because I don't know that you're going to require. Not that you won't require. I don't know what evidence you can put other than what Mr. Medina already told the court, and it sounds to the court from one side, it sounds to the court from hearing from Mr. Arce that Ms. Medina would like to get paid on this as soon as possible. And it sounds like Ms. Anderson is telling the court that Mr. Medina is a truck driver, but had previously pre-qualified, so his time is limited. It sounds to the court that all other things being equal, subject to additional information, evidence, and testimony, that the application, he can take the 30 days, but why not apply tomorrow or in 7 days? So that being the case, why don't you all agree that $87,000 is due in 30 days, and then interest begins running on day 31? that would provide sufficient incentive to get it done this week.
I think the only issue is that even if he were to do it this week, I don't know that the bank would have it ready in 30 days, Judge.
Right, so it starts a discussion, see? So the idea there is to give an incentive,
Yes.
not to apply on day 29,
No, no,
but to rush there tomorrow if
Yes.
possible.
tomorrow I'll do it, sir. Tomorrow I'll call them and I'll just wait on their response. As a matter of fact, I already text one of the guy and he told me, call me back as soon as you get out, of course.
So why don't you agree to that? Why don't you agree to question? I'm not ordering this. I'm saying, why don't you all agree to $87,000 and interest running for every day, not, how do I say this? Every day after August 13th, that the application isn't in. So in other words, he can apply in 7 days from now, but for those 7 days, he'll pay interest until that application is in. So if he
Okay, so
applies, so he can, it's a suggestion, 'cause I think this would be good, up until the 13th. That's a day and a half. Well, that's Thursday, right? So if the application is on Thursday, there isn't any interest and he funds the loan as soon as it's
Available.
closed, available. If he takes 30 days, then he has 30 days of interest.
Okay,
See what I'm saying? So that gives Mr. Medina an incentive to resolve this as soon as possible, but it also gives Ms. Medina the benefit of the time it took him to put in the application.
I mean, we're fine with that, Judge.
so I think just to clarify, he has until August 13th to submit the application
Without
and then without
penalties,
interest.
interest.
And then.
He has up to 30 days,
Okay,
to-
but
this is
the
request.
interest will start accruing, yes, I
but only within that window until he actually,
submits the application.
Right.
And then, so there will be no interest if he does the application up until August 13th. And
so
then
long
it's-
as he funds the 87,000 as soon as it's.
Yeah, so as long as he is to receive the money, as long as he's able to give it to Ms. Medina. there
As
will
long
be-
as he does everything possible, everything within his control, and it's out of his hands and it's dependent on
Yes.
someone else.
So he doesn't sit on it, yes, okay,
Right.
okay,
Alright.
I think that's fair,
Agreed by all?
yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right,
sure.
so there is one. Fantastic. The court sees that there is an agreement by the parties. The court adopts and approves that agreement. It is a binding and enforceable Rule 11 agreement stated on the record. Now, as to the travel, I guess give the court some background as to that issue.
Judge, I think, if I could ask my client some questions, Judge. I believe that he just has had incidents in the past where, I think he's been he's been threatened. And I believe family members have also either been kidnapped or killed.
Yeah.
In Mexico. And I believe that Miss Medina has also maybe had her own incidents where maybe she was
Little.
she was little and somebody pointed a gun at her or something. So I was just gonna ask my client for that evidence and so those are his concerns.
I believe the parties are under oath. You may ask questions.
And Judge, and we'll show Judge that since had been together, Your Honor, they've traveled, according to my client, at least 10 times in the past year to Mexico, Judge. So that's why we think it's a non-issue, Your Honor.
Not the last year, sir.
So, and and it's not even into Mexico, Judge. I believe they're just requesting Nuevo Laredo. So not deep into Mexico, just across the border.
I guess I'll
Okay,
let you all
well,
present those facts. Ms. Anderson, I think this is, the burden is on who?
I think it's on Miss Medina because the previous order, the decree already had a prohibition that they both agreed to where they had agreed that neither party would travel with the children to Mexico unless both consented to the travel, and that was on page 9 of the decree.
So you're requesting
So
that
they're asking
modification
to
here.
modify, yes.
Yes, sir.
Your burden, go ahead,
Thank you, Your Honor.
just speak both, everybody speak into a microphone, we'll be fine.
Judge, where would you like my client to, or she
Um,
can stand?
yes, actually, let's have her in front of the bench, please.
Is it fine that I question from here, Judge, or?
It is, but let's have everybody slide into one of the tall mics. Yeah, so slide over one. That way the mic, Mr. Arce, that way the microphone is right in front. Yes. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please state your name for the record.
Vanessa Medina.
Vanessa Medina.
And Ms. Medina, you have two children with Izar Medina.
Correct.
And what are the ages of the children?
15 y 12.
15 and 12.
And where the children reside?
Conmigo, aquí en Laredo.
With me here in Laredo, Texas.
And at some point, you resided with Mr. Izar Medina?
Sí, así es.
Yes, correct.
And that was with the children as well?
Así es.
Correct.
And during that time, did you ever travel together with the children to Mexico?
Así es.
Correct.
What part of Mexico would you travel to?
Nuevo Laredo.
Nuevo Laredo.
And approximately how many times did you travel to Nuevo Laredo in the past year?
Unas 10 veces. ¿Cómo?
Around 10 times or more.
Okay, and prior to that, approximately how many times would you travel to Nuevo Laredo every year?
Este año fueron, en el año pasado fueron 9. Y
La-
otras veces.
Last year was more than times before.
Approximately, if you can give the court a number, how many times would you travel in prior years?
About 5 times a year.
Why is it that you travel to Nuevo Laredo?
Para... Ya,
To visit Mr. Medina's aunt
o pasar tiempo con los hermanos.
or to spend time with his mom, his family.
Do you have any family members in Nuevo Laredo?
Yo,
Me, yes.
And would you take the children to go visit your family members?
sí.
Yes.
And who of your family resides in Nuevo Laredo?
Mi papá,
My father,
mis hermanos,
my brothers,
mi sobrino,
my nephews, my uncle, and my cousins.
So not only do you have family in Nuevo Laredo, but Mr. Medina also has family in Nuevo Laredo.
Yes.
When was the last time that you traveled to Nuevo Laredo?
noviembre,
November,
And on that trip, who went with you?
el señor Medina y yo.
Mr. Medina, my daughters, and me.
Let me ask you, in the time that you've traveled with Mr. Medina, do you recall any instance of violence towards you or Mr. Medina?
No,
Mr. Medina's attorney had brought up something of violence, but was that anytime recently in the past 12 years since you've had the children?
A nosotros nunca nos pasó.
nothing has ever happened to us.
And would you be protective of your daughters if the court would allow you to travel into Nuevo Laredo?
Of course.
And Ms. Medina, you had heard Mr. Medina's attorney mentioned that there was a travel restriction to Nuevo Laredo post the 2022 divorce. Is that right?
Yes,
But in fact, you also testified today that both you and Mr. Medina have taken the girls on several occasions, even though there was an order prior. Is that right?
yes,
So are you just asking the court to lift that order, being that both of you have traveled with the children on various occasions to Nuevo Laredo?
yes, correct.
And why would you want the court to lift that restriction?
Because we want to spend time with my family also.
And do you believe that that would be in the best interest of the girls to spend time with your family?
Yes,
I pass away this room.
Cross-examination, Ms. Anderson. All right, would you like to, Ms. Medina, you may have a seat. Do you have any witnesses, Ms. Anderson? Mr. Medina, please step forward. I believe you're under oath.
So, Mr. Medina, can you give your full name for the record?
señor Medina, ¿nos puede dar su nombre completo para la acta?
Izar Conrado Medina.
Izar Conrado Medina Jr.
And your two children are two girls, correct? Correct. Ages 12 and 15?
¿Y sus hijas son dos niñas menores de 12 y 15 años? Correct.
And as part of your agreement in your divorce, you and Ms. Vanessa Medina agreed to no travel to Mexico unless you both consented. Is that correct?
Como parte de su divorcio con la señora Medina, los dos estaban de acuerdo que los niños no deberían de viajar a México al menos que tuviera el consentimiento de los dos. ¿Es eso correcto? Correct.
So any travel that you guys have had together was because you both consented to that travel. Is that correct?
Cualquier viaje que han hecho es porque los dos consintieron hacer ese viaje juntos. Correct.
So you were in fact following the decree.
Entonces, de hecho, usted estaba siguiendo el acuerdo. Yes, sir.
So why is it that you would not want the court to lift that restriction?
¿Por qué no quisiera usted que el juzgado retirara esa restricción?
Porque en mi pasado tuve familiar que secuestraron, que mataron, hay récords de todo eso.
Because in my past, I have family members that have been kidnapped and killed. There's records of that.
Ella tuvo un incidente donde a ella le pusieron una pistola en la cabeza de chica,
She had an incident when she was young, when they put a gun to her head.
y cada vez que nosotros cruzábamos, en el año cruzamos 4 a 5 veces.
And
No.
every time we would cross, in the year, we crossed maybe 4 or 5 times, no more.
Cuando cruzábamos, siempre ella está de testigo, donde la camioneta, sus carros así extraños, se nos pegaban y nos empezaban a observar, era gente.
She was witness that every time we would cross, we would have the cars and trucks of the people over there. They would just get close to us and look at us.
Temor por la vida de mis hijas, porque para empezar, mi familia vive cruzando el puente, su
And,
familia vive más lejos.
And I would be in fear for the lives of my kids because her family lives right across my family, sorry. My family lives right across the bridge, but her family lives a little bit further away.
Y cuando íbamos, los dos íbamos con ella. Ella misma me decía, no quiero ir. Si no teníamos para qué ir, no íbamos.
And when I would cross, in fact, we would both go with fear. She would even told me that she was in fear of going.
And what were the reasons that you would travel to Mexico for?
¿Cuáles eran las razones por las que usted dejaba México?
Desgracias familiares, muertes de familiares, si cruzamos 5 veces en el año, 3 o 4 eran desgracias y una de que, ¿sabes qué? Pues hicieron un convivio, vamos. Pero estando en un convivio con ellos, se armó la balacera y estamos todos escondidos.
We would cross in case because there was something bad happened with the families, or there was a death. Maybe 4 out of 5 times, and maybe we would go to a party or another. And even in one occasion, we were there at a reunion, there was a shootout.
So do you feel it's safe for your daughters to travel if both you and Miss Medina are not present?
¿Usted cree que es seguro que viajen sus hijas si no están los dos presentes? No, sir.
Is there anything else you would like to add to tell the court?
¿Hay algo más que les quieras decir al juzgado?
Solo que tuviera consideración de cómo está la situación allá. Yo entiendo que ella quiera ver a su familia, pero su familia no.
Just for the court to have consideration of the situation over there. I know they want to go see the family, but her family does cross over here.
And you are not saying that you will never agree, you just want to have a say into when your children should travel into Mexico.
Usted no está diciendo que no quiere que nunca crucen, sino que quiere usted tener una palabra cuando crucen.
Correcto. Y que fuera posible, mis hijas tienen celulares. Entonces, que al menos una de ellas prendiera su locación para saber. No tengo ningún interés en saber dónde está el resto de su familia y nada más.
Yes, and for example, the girls have a cell phone, and I would like maybe for one of them to turn on their location so I would know where they're at, and just to know where they're at, not to know where her family is.
I pass the witness, Judge.
Cross-examination, Mr. Arce. Any questions, Mr. Arce?
No questions, Your Honor.
Court has heard no questions. All right, you may sit down, Mr. Medina. This is your request, Mr. Arce. Is there anything you want to say to close into the record?
Your Honor, there was a testimony, Judge, from my client that both the 12-year-old and the 15-year-old have crossed on several occasions, Judge. According to my client, they've crossed at least 10 times in the past year, Judge. And this was in contradiction to the order that opposing counsel said that basically restricted them from traveling to Mexico, Judge. There was testimony that they've traveled together to Mexico with both children, that not only last year that they traveled 10 times, that they traveled on previous years on several occasions as well, Judge. During the time that and elicited testimony from my client, that there had been no violence at all when they had crossed over, Judge. They traveled not just for leisure, Judge, but to see family members that reside in Nuevo Laredo. They have, as per my client's testimony, her father, mother, brothers, cousins all reside in Nuevo Laredo. And they've not only visited my client's family, but they've also visited Mr. Izar Medina's family, Judge. When I asked when the last time they traveled, it was just as recent as this past November, Your Honor. And I believe that the reason they hadn't traveled any other time since then, Judge, was because of the fact that we're going through these proceedings. So, Judge, the question is, Ms. Anderson asked her client was, why do you not want to lift the restriction? He said, because in the past, I've had family killed. Well, Judge, that wouldn't make sense because that was the past, he had family killed, but since then, he's been traveling to Nuevo Laredo with his, with the mother of the children and with his children on all of these several occasions. And we go by my client's account, it's at least 10 times, Judge. We go by his account, it's at least 5 times that he's traveled into Nuevo Laredo. So there was this great fear, Judge, of the murders or killings, and why, in his eyes, put the children at risk by traveling at least those 5 times into Nuevo Laredo. He also mentioned there's been cars and trucks that get close to them. It really doesn't show much of any danger, Judge, which is what he testified to. Basically, Judge, this comes down to one issue that's remained, and that's control. He wants to have control of my client not being able to travel into Nuevo Laredo on her own. It's okay if he goes and they travel together, but not if my client goes alone. It's okay if he's with them and dictates where they go, because his family lives near the bridge, but her family lives a little bit further. So it's okay to visit his family, but not her family. And it is an issue of control, Judge, because he himself said, okay, if the children have a phone and I can see their location, then I'm able to track them and okay, I know that they're okay. Well, Judge, basically, this is the reason why there was a divorce and we had contended that they were together. But now ultimately my client does want this to be over, Judge. And that being some freedom and ability to dictate where her children go. I asked her if she would do everything in her power to make sure that the children are safe, and she had testified she would, Judge, as would any mother. All right. So we're just asking, Your Honor, that being the fact that they've not followed that restriction before, that they've, as per his own testimony, traveled into Nuevo Laredo at least 5 times last year, it makes no sense that she be limited and not him, Judge. It'd be no sense that by him saying, okay, I'll give you the okay to travel, and that could be never, Judge. Basically, she has to ask him permission to travel, and he could ostensibly say no every single time. So we just want that autonomy for my client, Judge. She's going to be named a managing conservator with the right to designate. I believe that also elicits other rights, and that would be a right to travel, especially when there's been no testimony of any danger that has happened when the children have traveled to Nuevo Laredo with both parents.
Understood. Ms. Anderson, closing.
Mr. Acton mentioned that they were traveling in violation of the court's order, but that's not correct, because the order states, it is further ordered that neither party shall travel with the children to Mexico or out of the country without the consent of the other party. So as long as both parties consented, then the travel was allowed. And so that was what was agreed to. And at the time of the divorce decree, that's what both parties agreed was in the best interest of the children. For no travel, neither party could travel without the consent with the children to Mexico or out of the country without the consent of the other party. That was what they both agreed was in the best interest of the children. And I don't believe that she has any evidence to suggest otherwise now, that it's in the best interest of the children to not have that restriction. Mr. Medina is just trying to he's just afraid for his daughter's safety, and he would just like to follow the agreement that they reached in the divorce decree. And we don't believe that they've met their burden to modify that order, Judge. That's all.
Ms. Medina, Mr. Medina, this decision is pretty straightforward, but I told you all of the 2 hypothetical scenarios, and this court hears this type of request every so often, but the 2 polar extremes are that as a families have always traveled internationally, and now the request is none. On the polar opposite side, the court hears where there is 0 international travel, and now one party wants to travel. And usually families lie somewhere in between, but those are the 2 polar opposite scenarios. And I think you lie closer to the first scenario. It sounds to the court, number 1, that your initial agreement was premised on, I know you all said, as long as you both agree, but it sounds to the court that your agreement was almost premised on you all being together because that was the basis for the filing of the second case, cause number 2026 FLA 26C3. Even though all y'all were divorced, you all continued together. So as long as you're together, travel is okay. As when you were acting as one family unit, whether you were actually married or not, as long as you're together, independent of the agreement, you all traveled together. And it sounds like other than you now not being together, nothing has really changed. And there is no evidence or testimony that anything has in fact changed. So, so that was the basis of the international travel, that was the agreement. And 3, acting as a one unit family, which you are no longer. So, the court finds that it is in the best interest of the children that they be allowed to travel to Nuevo Laredo as they have before, but the court is going to impose 2 restrictions. Number 1, that each child should have their cell phone on with location sharing. I think that is a good safeguard to anything that could happen anywhere. And the second restriction is that the person, because what's good for one is good for all. The court is saying they can travel. The court heard that Mr. Medina has a father that lives in Nuevo Laredo, so he's allowed, what's good for one is good for the other parent. So he's allowed, but all of these things apply to her and also to him. If he decides to travel to Nuevo Laredo, both children should also have location sharing on their devices. And the second restriction is that the parent wanting to travel to Nuevo Laredo must give the other person 24-hour written notice by email or by text. This court does not believe, based on this situation, that one parent should be allowed, one side or the other be allowed to veto travel. The court has heard that there is a good cause, reason, and basis for the travel, and that is to share moments with extended family. The court heard that there were good reasons for it, good reasons as get-togethers and other good reasons, and that's funerals, and that's also a good reason. They're saying that weddings are voluntary, but funerals are mandatory in general with families. That somehow in some families that's the case. So unfortunately, sometimes death brings families together, and the court can't restrict that. These are the orders of the court. The court finds that these are good, right, and just, and in the best interest of the children. Mr. Arce, do you have any questions?
No.
Ms. Anderson? Into the.
If the court would consider, even the travel will be to Nuevo Laredo, is that correct? Or is it to any?
Closer to the mic, Your Honor.
Oh, it's because it was off, sorry. If the travel, my client was wondering if the court would consider putting like a parameters in terms of traveling only in daylight. I believe that that's something that people that when, it's safer to travel in daylight than at night when it's dark. So I don't know if the court would consider putting those types of restrictions on travel during daylight hours only.
The court didn't hear any evidence or testimony of that. In general, that sounds correct, but absent evidence or testimony. And remember, those devices must be on, must be fully charged, and must have location services until they actually cross back, whatever time that is. Remember, international travel. I mean, I don't want to put, we just stop there, but I mean, they can cross, or they can cross that day or whenever. And the court, look, there is no request for any other restrictions, but the specific evidence that the court heard is that there's extended family on both sides, and that they have access to this family is on both sides is probably a good thing. Any other thoughts, comments, objections, Ms. Anderson?
No, Your Honor.
Thoughts, comments, or objections, Mr. Arce? I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Ms. Medina, do you have any questions for the court?
No.
Mr. Medina, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Medina and Mr. Medina, I wish you both very well, but much more important, I wish your two daughters all the best.
Thank you.
Everyone have a
Thank you,
good
sir.
day. Everyone is excused.
Take care.